Hello and welcome everybody back once again to the World of Racing Pro Series. We're back for round 2 as we head on over to a circuit that may be not the most well known to all, Oschersleben. But before we get into that tonight, I'm Mike Noss. Joined alongside me is none other than the Sagar Bakshi. Sagar, how are we doing on this lovely evening, afternoon, or morning, wherever these fine folks are in this world?
I am living the dream, Mike Noss. There's nowhere I'd rather be than here with World of Racing on my Thursday evening, watching some drivers compete for some real world dollars. I think that is super cool.
Absolutely. And speaking of those prizes, Sagar, why don't you talk us through a little bit more about that?
Well, the real world prizes are available to all the drivers. Cash payouts will be based on most points of the night. And the point system right now, it's very close for the drivers. Race 1, race 2. We've got a tie for the lead. Aaron and Ryan tied for 165, 164 for Spencer. William with 156, 155 for Andrew after an interesting round 1 and a very interesting round 2. Only got 70 points for race 2 on the first night of the Pro Series. Cody in P6, Michael in 7th, Kian in P8, Timothy in 9th, and Jacob and Robert tied for 10th and 11th. It is absolutely phenomenal to see this format take place. The reverse grid is super exciting to see. Watching the faster drivers work their way through the grid, and tonight will be super exciting because what are we racing, Mike Noss?
Well, last week we may have had a little bit of Mustang action as the horsepower took to the circuit quite literally. This time around, something a little bit different in the Formula 2 style cars, or the RS2 V6, whatever you want to call it. Either way, it's a Formula 2 car. It's got 620 brake horsepower. It might look like one of the lower Formula cars, but my goodness, that is a boatload of power and torque underneath their right foot. Very wide wheelbase, coming in about 650 kilograms. What the heck is a kilogram? I don't even know. Either way, the driver is going to have to contend with that here tonight, and the qualifying saga is underway. Why don't we jump our way on into that? As we get into it here, we can see Sammy out on circuit, currently rocking in 9th position. Ryan, though, is the talk of the town right now as they top the time charts, coming out onto circuit right now for their opening lap. And you can see all of these lovely drivers taking to this very tight circuit, Sagar.
It is a very tight circuit, and like you said, it's not one that most drivers are familiar with, but only hosting domestic events at the racing level, with ADAC, GT Masters, the IDM Superbikes being the main headline events for this. So unless you're from Germany, I don't think you're really too familiar with this track, are you, Mike?
No, not really. I know it is one of the free circuits available in some of the other simulators that are out there. Of course, we are playing in Assetto Corsa. I think this is a downloaded track, one of the modded tracks, though. As we can see, the mods do, of course, take this game to an absolute another level. The RSS mods looking absolutely amazing. I commented on another race from Assetto Corsa today with some Renault Clio Cup cars, and my goodness, again, it does not matter what the simulator, it does not matter what the car model is. RSS has you covered, and I always highly recommend checking out their content if you do love this sim. You know what else I love, though, Sagar? Look at this qualifying. Now, we do see Ryan in the 112s, but absolutely everybody else is, well, not absolutely everybody else. Our top 9 is sitting in the 113s, and the 114s not too far behind either. This is looking like quite the tight event.
1 second separating that top 9 pair of drivers. That is going to be just as exciting as the Mustangs are. The one thing I am curious about is going to be dirty air. Will it affect these Formula 2 cars going around such a tight and twisty racetrack? Not a lot of straights other than the Stadio Gird and the backside of the track as Troy has to take evasive maneuvers there. Holy Toledos are out. That was a Code Brown moment for sure. And I'm curious about the track conditions as well. Will we see that dirty air take effect? Will we see this crosswind of 7 kilometers per hour affect the drivers? And how many overtakes will we really see take place when we have 20 drivers packing in this very tight track?
Yeah, you'll often hear me talking, especially when we commentate some of the slower type cars with cars with longer braking zones, that it develops for more exciting racing. The longer the braking zone, the more exciting it's going to be. This is not quite gonna be that, in my opinion. Here, these cars maybe not quite as long or as short of a braking zone as Formula One, but they're quite on the dot. In fact, we haven't even done an onboard lap. Ryan here is now taking to the first lap. Why don't we go on board and just take a look at the high speed, high commitment nature of this circuit on through sector 1, just trying to spot the braking zones as you're basically going through a slalom the entire time, down on your way towards the back hairpin. Now pretty much every single quarter Sauger on this track is a hairpin, but down towards the triples, you're really not going to be finding too many overtaking chances, are you?
No, you really won't. It'll be tight and twisty through this midsection of the track, as you promptly called them out, the triples basically. But like you also said, every single one of these corners is basically a hairpin until you get to the chicane, and that's what you can face when you mount the sausage curbs, unsettling the car as it bottoms out. And that could really ruin your way, send you from P1 all the way down to P last, unfortunately. And man, oh man, there's just going to be so many tries and attempts for passing opportunities, but it's just going to slow down the pack racing. I'm really curious how this event's going to go, Mike.
I do suspect a bit of a DRS train to be formed, or a slipstream train. There we saw the high-speed nature of the Shell S's. Again, you're not going to be finding many overtaking chances, even on your good days. That's going to be a good lap from Ryan, and look at that pit lane. It just fires them immediately into the traffic. Ryan going to have to abandon this lap, as really through no fault of the exiting pit lane driver. There's not much vision. These cars, you're looking through a tiny little letterbox through the front windshield. Nevertheless, the mirrors, and they don't really help you out with much. Now, the drivers, though, of course, you got to be paying attention. You have the little radars, you have the blips, and of course, here at World of Racing, we have the full motion Sigma Intergale simulators as well, where you get every single little bit of realism, and when somebody clatters you in the side panel, well, you notice, and that's never a fun bet.
But it's got to be one of the most exciting things about racing at the World of Racing headquarters, whether you're in Tustin, whether you're in Pasadena, whether you're in Kansas City. That's got to be one of the best feelings in the world, to get clattered into the side and feel the undulations, feel that motion take over your entire body, to know that you've been hit, or to know when the banking is there or the camber is available in the corner. It's got to be such a great sensation. I cannot wait to try it myself someday.
And you know what? If you are as well down in Phoenix, keep in mind, folks, World of Racing Phoenix is now open as well. Here tonight, we just have Tustin and Pasadena duking it out, the Battle of the Californias. But of course, with more to come when we have our special events, of course, every single World of Racing taking part, and we love to see the state support, the national, the city support as well, of course, with Tustin being down in the district, and of course, Pasadena a little more up in the city. But if you are in SoCal, whether you're in Kansas City, you do definitely want to take a look at the premier sim racing center in World of Racing. Now, though, back to the action. Aaron, he's in a little bit of action himself right now, and this is not where you want to be in qualifying. 2 minutes left to go, Sauger, and he is stuck in traffic and not improving at all.
Unfortunate for Aaron, got thwarted his pole position time by 0.2 of a second. And to boot, he's got traffic in front of him, and they're just about to cross the line, but the driver in front slightly yields out of the way, but it'll still be a drag for him to get down to the first corner here, and he will be able to get this flyer. It will just be this lap plus one more, and qualifying will be concluded. The track temperature right now is actually lower than the ambient temperature. 14 degrees Celsius, 15 is the ambient. Track conditions are 100% optimum with 7 kilometers per hour crosswind. Aaron goes purple through sector 1 on his second to last lap here. Will he be able to hold on to this speed and momentum through sector 2? Comes around the hairpin at the bottom of the key right now, and he works his way up the hill through the chicane. A little bit of oversteer for him as he approaches the chicane, but he's looking pretty neat and tidy on this run. Leading down towards the back straightaway now. He's looking pretty good, pretty neat and tidy. When does that purple sector 2 pop up for him? Will it be any moment now? It'll be yellow, but just barely by 0.005 of a second. But the tank slapper is what ruined the lap for him, and that'll be all she wrote on this attempt.
Yeah, he'll have one more go with this, but that's going to be it. And with a little bit of marbles on the tires in the final sector, it's not going to be helping anybody's day, especially those behind. It's a battle in the background. Now, we do see cheers in chat right now from Jane Rogers cheering Jeffrey on. Now, Jeffrey has retired back into pit lane for this qualifying, sitting down in 17th position with a 1:15.009. We'll be seeing him, though, promptly in the race when we get started. And keep in mind, folks, for those that maybe don't finish in the highest positions, you get a second chance. You get a re-rack, restack in a reverse manner. So let's say this is the end of race 1. Ryan wins the race, Aaron and Troy. They're going to be starting in the back of the grid. Now, that's obviously not what's happening. We're only in qualifying right now. But just as a hypothetical situation, then Rick would be starting in the front, Clet in second, and of course, everybody following in that reverse order. Now, Nolan here got a little bit of work to do. Starting in the mid-pack is never where you want to be, and finishing in the mid-pack, especially in a reverse race saga, is never what you want either. You don't really gain and you don't really lose, but Nolan here trying to put it all on the line as he heads to the checkered flag, and no improvements are going to be found.
Man, super unfortunate for Aaron on that last run. He was looking so good, but he's looking great for this time, getting to the line. Will it be enough for pole position? He's 2/10 down overall. He carries the speed and the momentum, but he is just 50 thousandths away from getting that pole position run. Holy Toledo, that was absolutely super close. What a banger of a lap that he was able to stitch together. And on the last run of things, what could have been, what could have was for Aaron for sure.
Yeah, it was a really solid attempt there. He managed to improve on his best lap, but it wasn't enough. Chris here heading to the line. That's not going to be an improvement for him either. A 1:13.3, 2/10 off of his fastest lap. Chan Young, Mr. Consistent, as I often like to call him, consistently here, plugging away in the mid-pack for right now. Hopefully he can find a little bit more of a result. Qualifying, though, is going to be done, dusted, and in the past. And, well, with that ambient temperature lower than the actual outside, or the track temp, excuse me, being lower than the ambient temp, you know, in real life, that might cause some sweating issues, but I don't think we're going to be seeing that modeled here in the Assetto Corsa simulator. It'd be really kind of cool if it was, but thankfully for the drivers, they're not going to have to be dealing with a slick surface like that. But as we get into it, though, qualifying is over, and Ryan sits on pole position with Aaron alongside in second, Troy coming home in third, Chris in fourth, Sammy taking home fifth with Andrew in sixth, Nolan seventh with William in eighth, Ali coming home in ninth, and Robert rounding out your top 10.
Following that, we'll have Michael in P11, Chan Young in 12th, Josh in 13th, Christopher in 14th, Andreas in 15th, Cody in 16th, Jeffrey in 17th, Gerson in 18th, Clay in 19th, Timothy in the 20th position, and Rick in 21, and Michael Noss sitting in the pit lane being the safety car and broadcasting vehicle brought to you by AK Esports. But man, oh man, is it close at the tip of the spear, just separated by thousandths of a second on that first row of the grid, and we're ready to get gridded up and take the 6 red lights.
What was once separated by tens of thousands of seconds is now separated by a couple feet, and the 6 red lights are going to come on here, and we're going to begin the first race, well, second round of the World of Racing Pro Series live here on YouTube. The green flag is out, and Ryan is away quite well. Behind Aaron getting a decent start, but Troy looking to file into third as well. Chris now down to the inside. It's going to be off the track, though, and this is going to be a restart more than likely, as it seems that everybody got the memo quite quick with a bit of damage in the backfield. We're going to re-rack and restack for anyone new here to World of Racing. Maybe even had a bit of server issues here, but we are going to be getting back into it here shortly with a race restart with the same order that we had.
Amazing that we have the capability to be able to do this. It's not like in normal Assetto Corsa normal Assetto Corsa servers that you have the ability to just restack and re-rack them. But thanks to the wonderful staff here with World of Racing, we are able to actually get these race restarts and the grid set absolutely pitch perfectly. Should drivers not be able to connect, should drivers not be able to get to the grid in time, that is an excursion for sure. I don't think he intended to be on the other side of the Armco, but he's having a world of a time. There's William leading the charge right now.
Yeah, I think he did. He took the slip route. I was trying to find out which car was doing that. And here we go. William breaking the law a little bit. Breaking the law. No, okay, here we go. As we restart this session here. Same order as we saw from qualifying. Nothing has changed. And just another bit of time has passed. The conditions now 15-15 though, so we have a slightly warmer track. Let's try again. Race 2. Well, no, excuse me. Race 1, round 2. Of the World of Racing Pro Series. Back at it once again. 6 red lights are on here at Oschersleben. And the green flag is out, and Ryan is caught sleeping at the wheel. Aaron able to get an incredible start. He yields, though, to his rival, Troy. Now going to be in the background. Ryan back in the lead. Is this another restart? Is this an outlap? This is an outlap.
This is a rolling start? Question mark?
I am unsure. As we continue, looks to be an outlap here. First race start will be a standing start. And then if it red flags, it'll be a rolling start. So it was a red flag. Okay. There we go. So that's what we have established. So we are going to have a rolling start. This is, I'm assuming, to increase the likelihood of a successful race start, decreasing the likelihood of another red flag.
Completely out of the ordinary. Again, something that you cannot do with your friends online. Only something that you can do when you're in a headquarters that World of Racing has access to, with a staff able to manage the conditions of the race. A rolling start is going to be a phenomenal run towards the first corner here tonight. And I am always here for it. And especially in these Formula 2 cars, it's going to be very, very spicy. The driver is getting formed up 2 by 2 as we approach the penultimate corner and get squared up for the final corner. And then it'll be all up to Ryan to determine when the race gets started.
I will say that got me very excited to get... Well, I thought Ryan fell asleep at the wheel. Sorry, Ryan, for the insult. Turns out it was okay. Either way, we try again. The rolling start this time. Ryan on pole position, Aaron alongside, and it looks to be immediately single-filed out here. Everybody going line astern. Troy going to be potentially trying to the inside, though? No, not on this occasion. Chris in the background taking to the off-road. No, that was somebody else, as it's going to be everyone in the top, really not having too many issues. But as we get further back here to William, he's gained a position over Nolan. Everybody else now looking to dice it up in the mid-pack here. Robert and Ali having a little bit of a bout themselves, as it looks like Ali is going to be able to slip on by. Oh, no, not yet.
2 heavy hitters here with World of Racing, Robert and Ali, names that you'll hear frequently amongst the drivers, and they're going to be here for a heck of a time. Running in the mid-pack right now, P9 and 10 respectively, but it'll be inverted for race number 2, so watch them work their way forward and then work their way and stick in front of the rest of the grid. William looking like he wants to make a move on Andrew, but Andrew covers off that inside line very well. William works his way the long way around the outside. Andrew gets a switchback engaged, and it'll be William actually that secures that position. Spicy battle for P6 and 7.
That was a bit of a tail wagging the dog situation for William, but he managed to somehow keep control. Now ahead of Andrew. I'd imagine Andrew's not going to be going anywhere in this bout. At the top, no changes yet to be found. In fact, the gaps are extending quite a bit. Oh, as we see William there going a little bit deep. Andrew, though, not close enough to capitalize as everybody else now. Pretty much with that 5/10 gap, this saga is what we were kind of worried about, or we're going to talk about, I guess, in terms of this race. A bit of a DRS train forming early on here. Now, there's still 16 minutes left. Plenty of action to be had. The drivers, though, they clearly want to save their tires and save the race, but unfortunately for Chan Young, he's found the grass.
Really unfortunate for Chan Young. Saw that in the background there at turn 2. Unfortunate there that he got passed by Ali, Josh, Andreas, Cody, Gerson, and Christopher. He's all the way down into 20th position right now. But it was looking like a spicy battle, so I'm wondering if the stewards are going to have a look at that. And speaking of looking at it, Christopher mounted the sausage curbs trying to straighten out the line and just got airborne enough time to be served wine on that flight. I stole that from you, Mike.
Hey, look, I was going to say it if you didn't. Yeah, Christopher there taking flight and absolutely coming back down to earth in a dramatic fashion there. That is going to be one for the spinal reconstruction surgery, I would imagine, but that's given a position back for free to Chan Young. And all of this, one of our fan favorites, Jeffrey, has managed to gain some positions. We also have from David R. in chat some cheers for Josh. A big warm welcome to everybody joining us here tonight. Where is Josh? Josh up in 11th. He's doing quite well for himself right now in the number 5. Just currently in a bit of clean air. Nobody in front, nobody in the back. So he's looking good for a potential top 10 here if this drama continues up at the front. So far, though, everything seems to have calmed down and everyone on their best behavior for this time.
Gap kind of slinking backwards and forwards between the leader right now and P2 was down to 0.4 of a second leading down and towards turn 1, now up to 0.75 of a second. Pretty interesting stuff to see that one kind of slinky back and forth. I wonder what's going on between Ryan and Aaron, or if they've come to a gentleman's agreement to just not battle it out until the last couple of laps, because like you said, Michael, we're kind of looking at a slipstream train right now. A lot of the drivers just falling in single file, stuck behind the car in front of them. And I wonder if the dirty air is playing a part with some of these drivers' mentality.
I would imagine so, and on top of that, this track being so narrow as well, you just have to dip a tire off into the grass, and these cars, they really don't like that. These are cars that are meant for wide open Formula One grade circuits. I mean, these are literally the next cars down from Formula One cars. This is a tight, windy beast for them, to be completely honest, and seeing the lack of overtaking chances here, the drivers, I'd imagine, are going to start feeling it, and as this race continues and we get into the dying embers, frustration as we have up ahead there. It looked like Chris was driving Troy's car briefly as they had locked up front wing to rear bumper, I guess, gearbox here, and became one for a moment. I would imagine this drama's not dying down.
No, and drama's not dying down between Sammy, William, and Andrew either. 0.3 separating the three drivers, and William getting very close to Sammy for P5 within 1/10 of a second, kind of hovering right around there. These drivers are getting awfully spicy right now. I think they're coming to grips with the tires. I think they're coming to grips with the way that these cars maneuver beneath them. They did have an entire week to practice to get their qualifying time in, but now's the time for them to shine and know what their competitors have been up to all week.
We hop on board with Chris. Let's take a look at the strengths and weaknesses here that we're going to be dealing with. On the way down towards this little hairpin here that I'm not going to try to pronounce, way deep for Troy. Is that going to open the door up for Chris into triple? You don't really want to be going side by side in this upcoming sector. It's just too high speed and too dangerous. Chris not even going to get the opportunity to do so. Somehow Troy managed to keep ground and really not lose much despite the lockup. But one thing, of course, that you're going to continue to lose as you lock up is that one little spot on your tires. That flat spot can turn into a monster patch, and Chris, with a handful of opposite lock, manages to keep the car.
Unbelievable recovery there. Like you said, handful of opposite lock. That was a full wheel rotation to keep it pointed in a straight line, but he manages to do so and nearly lose no time to Troy out in front, the driver in P3, separated by 0.4 of a second. That's just about where they were on that previous lap, and they'll come back and resume their battle, leading down in towards turn 1 all over again. One of the closest battles that we see on track right now, as well as Chan Young, 0.2 back in 15th place from Clay. Unbelievable recovery drive from Chan Young after an early upsetting moment.
And trying to go for the move now, but not finding any ground. Can he get it into turn 1? Turn 1 being a very tricky one as you go left, right, hard right. That's pretty much a double, triple apex, however you want to look at it. So Chan Young going to have to commit early if he wants to get it done. He's not going to commit at all on this occasion. I think that is the better choice. Through the second part of the hairpin, though, not quite. Maybe going for the over-under, though. Get the better exit and get the run in towards turn 3/4, whatever you want to call it. And around the outside, Chan Young goes. That looks to be a clean overtake, at least as long as he keeps his foot in it, and he does. Chan Young, nicely done.
Very well done from Chan Young, and it takes a lot of composure and mental fortitude to have a big spin like that and then come back as Sammy finds their way into the kitty litter. going into the last chicane before the final run of things. William and Andrew going after it wheel to wheel, toe to toe right now as we approach the final corner. And that'll be a little hip check and shove to Andrew to get him pushed out wide. But Nolan wants a piece of the pie, looking to the inside line right now, a little further back, headed down in towards turn one. Nolan backs out of that one pretty promptly, lets Andrew secure that position into P6.
And Nolan's looped it immediately afterwards. The dirty air, no, and the rejoin takes out Josh, who is having such a good drive up to this point. Manages to recover, though, quite quickly, and now with Cody back on circuit, and he's down in 11th position. What could have been is the story of Cody here tonight. He manages, though, to get back on track with a few positions lost, but not the end of the world. Andrew, though, going to be counting his lucky stars. So is Sammy. They were basically at the front end of that. But William, I don't want to say the cause of all of this. It was just a big kerfuffle that happened all at one point in time. And as the dominoes continued to fall, one thing led to another. A spin was the result.
And most importantly, I want to point out the championship standings right now. Aaron and Ryan are tied for P1 right now. Spencer in P3. William is in 4th position with Andrew in 5th, 1 point trailing from William. So it's looking pretty good right now for all of the drivers, kind of in order of their standings in the championship right now and on the leaderboard as well. But it is going to be spicy, and I think everybody's going to be fighting for every single point that they can get their grubby little mitts on. Andrew looking at William like a tasty little morsel on Thanksgiving dinner because he wants a piece of the pie.
Yeah, he certainly does, and it looks like it's going to be a pretty easy fight, in my opinion. William here is looking like he's driving all over the place, and Andrew's going to keep an eye on that, recognize the weaknesses and the strengths, and you can see he's going to pounce like a lion in the Serengeti. Not just yet, but William is going to be counting his lucky stars while he can. Now, Andrew, just looking for that opportunity. He's going to stay on it, and whenever it does come, he's going to take it right away. Up ahead, though, Chris and Troy. They're back at it again, side by side. Troy loses the position on this time, though. Chris up into P3.
Looking pretty good for the drivers in 1, 2, 3 right now, but Troy wants to change up that order. Quick, fast, in a hurry. He's following in the slipstream down the main straightaway, leading down in towards turn 1 as Jeffrey loops the car coming in through turn 4, it looks like, and rejoins the racetrack safely, gets pointed in the right direction.
Yeah, it looks like Andreas was involved in that. Andreas really not having a good race tonight. Normally somebody that we expect at least in the mid-pack, certainly though up in the higher positions, you would think, and he's not having a lucky day today, it seems. And oh no, speaking of that, Chan Young, disaster has struck for him as well, and was doing such a good job to recover his drive, and unfortunately he's ended up in the gravel once more, along with Chris, as everywhere you look there's chaos on circuit. Chris has ended up spinning around, Andrew up in a 4th, Troy keeps 3rd, and Sammy now going to be right on the back bumper of Chris.
Amazing stuff. We thought we weren't going to see that much action, but the drivers, it'll be a battle of mistake amongst them to keep it calm, cool, and collected. And we saw Chan Young work his way through the grid and back up into a decent points-paying position. I wonder if a driver like Andreas is just waiting it out for race number 2 or heat number 2 of the night, because we saw William during race number 1 pretty much have a quiet run of things, only collected 56 points, but in race number 2, clinched 100 points, won the whole shebang, the kit and caboodle. So we could see Andreas stay further back right now during heat number 1, and in heat number 2, unleash the beast.
That's probably the likely outcome. Also a likely outcome here, Chris making more mistakes. He ends up going wide. Sammy is not going to be looking a gift horse in the mouth. He's going to be taking that position right away. Now, though, what do you do if you're Chris? What do you do if you're Sammy? Sammy really not looking for anything in terms of gains at this point, just looking to hold on, as so is Chris, all over the place, loses it once more over the sausage curb, and just needs to get a grip. 6 minutes left, Sauger. What are you telling yourself when you're in these situations?
I think, first of all, I'm reminding myself to breathe. Because when I'm in situations like this, I'm in panic mode, my fight or flight is engaged, my adrenaline is pumping. the first thing I got to remind myself is, have you breathed in the last 3 minutes or so? So taking a big breath of fresh air is number one. Second thing is, I need to cool down these tires. What can I do to cool them down as quickly as possible? Stop slipping and sliding. Stop going for overtakes. Just maintain position. Give up one if you need to, but get the tires back into an operating window and then go on the attack. You still have 6 minutes remaining, 5 minutes and 20 left on the clock. You have plenty of time to gain that position back, Chris. Just work it, and the race will come back to you. 4 seconds now separates himself from Nolan. That will be a high mountain to be able to climb with just 5 minutes remaining left on the clock.
Yeah, it will, and as you said, just keep the composure. Don't lose any more positions. It's not about what you can gain, it's what about you can hold on to right now. I saw a car spun there. I'm not sure who that was, but we've seen quite a few spinners here tonight. SGT Reds, what game? This is Assetto Corsa, the OG. As you can see up at the top left, we are racing on the Assetto Corsa simulator here with RSS Studio, Racing Studio mods, and of course, incredible action here provided at World of Racing. So this is essentially two cities put up against each other in sim racing. It is Pasadena versus Tustin right now. It's not quite how it works out. It's every man for themselves. But either way, this is two locations down in Southern California. And of course, if you are down in Southern California and looking to have a little bit of fun, whether you're new to the game, whether you're new to sim racing as a whole, or looking to get a little bit more practice from coaching down to just open sessions, down to race nights and members nights as well, they have a little bit of everything, as well as gloves. I have a pair of gloves. Why don't I ever wear those on stream? I need to wear those more. They, of course, provide that as well if you are a member down there. So highly recommend checking that out, World of Racing. And, of course, now open in Kansas City, Kansas, as well as Phoenix, Arizona.
Amazing stuff. Andrew working his way all the way back from P6 now up into P4. And he has worked his way pretty diligently over and over again, lap after lap, to maintain this pace and consistency that he is running with. And he's 3/10 off the rear wing from Troy, who's 11.5 down from Aaron in P2. 4.2 up the road will be Ryan. So it's pretty quiet up at the tip of the spear, but battle for P3 still rages on. Andrew trying to go for the optimum line leading into the backside of the racing circuit. And a big mistake from Troy. This will open up an opportunity to Andrew to try to close down the gap. And another big tank slapper from Troy. And Andrew secures that position pretty easily. And he just needed to wait for that mistake. And he sure did. Looked like Troy almost got hit with a blast of dirty air coming out of the final corner. And it'll be Andrew up into P3 overall.
That's Andrew basically saying, if you can't handle the heat, get out of the kitchen. And Troy, unfortunately, he cracks under the pressure like an egg. Andrew now is going to be the one on the receiving end of the pressure, though. Can he hold on himself? It's always easier to follow. It's never easier to lead. Anyone that's done any racing certainly knows that to be the truth. Battles, though, in the background still happening. This is Ali and William. William has gone backwards since we last checked in on him, but looking now for a little bit of, well, light at the end of the tunnel, really. 2.5 minutes left to go. That'll be about 2 laps left, and Ollie is going to be all over him like a pack of bees.
Really close stuff here right now, getting down to the final 2 minutes. Really exciting to see. The driver just in the lead just crossed the line, so we should get this lap plus 1 bonus lap before we get the checkered flag. So we will see an official white flag take to the grid before we get ready for heat number 2, and we will be taking a short 10-minute break in between heat 1 and heat number 2, so stay tuned for that. And a big moment there for Ali as he mounted the curb, bottomed out the vehicle out of the last corner leading down and towards turn 1. He's not going to get the reception that he was expecting from William leading down. Oh my goodness, William having a big deep lunge coming through turn 1, almost went a little too wide there, opened the door for Ali, and that could have been a major mistake and points paying position for Ali up into 6th, just at a blink of an eye.
It's a trading of mistakes right now. It's not really a battle of the wiser. It's not who's going to get you on track. It's who is going to stay on track right now. Ali piling the pressure back on. This is when William made the mistake last time. He managed to hold on, and then Ali immediately cracked under the pressure himself. So, Keep that in mind. Always a game of chance, and where do you want to risk it if you're Ollie? Do you even want to risk it? Because keep in mind is you're going to have that reverse grid. So Ollie will technically be sliding. Oh, so they got to put my teeth in. We'll be starting in slightly higher of a position if he does finish in 7th, but every point matters right now. And can he make it through? We'll be keeping an eye on that, though. Troy and Andrew, this is the battle that's got me scratching my head, and Troy is overdriving like a madman.
And I think it's just the nature of these cars, trying to find a way by the driver in front. You've got to overdrive the vehicle, especially if you still have tires remaining after 20 minutes of battling. It's 15 seconds left on the clock. This will be white flag, checkered flag when the drivers get to the line now. And Troy really looking like he is on one right now, chasing down Andrew. It's not going to be an easy feat to get past a guy like that. The battle for 3rd place was almost over, but Troy really straightening out that chicane, does a great job of keeping it calm, cool, and collected. Ryan will bring home the checkered flag, though, into P1, catches lap traffic just in the nick of time, and that'll be all she wrote for Ryan.
In the world of racing colored livery as well, you love to see it. Aaron going to be taking over 2nd position without much of a fight. 4 seconds off the lead, 14 seconds ahead of Andrew in 3rd as the two drivers now come to the line. Andrew and Troy, what a good battle, but it's going to come to an end now with Andrew ahead in 3rd. Troy taking him 4th. Sammy now in 5th, 9 seconds, well, 10 seconds behind William. It was a good race, but taking home 6th.
Then Ali, Josh, Chris will round out 7, 8, 9, and Nolan into 10th position, 5.6 back. Still battling it out with Robert as we approach the line. The battle for 10th and 11th, really close, 0.6 of a second separated two of them. Cody into P12, Gerson in 13th, Christopher into 14th position, 1.4 seconds back. Clay, Rick, Jeffrey, Chan Young, heart goes out to Chan Young tonight. Michael and Andreas will round out the 20 drivers with Timothy sitting in pit lane. One thing to note as well, if you did not finish the race or take the checkered flag, you will be starting at the back of the pack. So the drivers really needed to have taken the checkered flag, crossed the line with the leader to get the benefit of the reverse grid setup. So maybe Andreas is not as lucky as we thought he was.
I think he did cross the line, but you might be right. We'll see. It's either going to be Michael or Andreas on pole position, or I think Timothy. I don't know. Did Timothy? I'm not sure. Either way, we'll find out very shortly as we, of course, do go back into the commentator booth. Welcome back, everybody. What a race, Sauger. In terms of the action, we expected a lot out of this one, and it absolutely delivered. Now, of course, the predictions of Dirty Air, they reigned a little bit true in this case, where everybody kind of had to settle in and hurry up and wait, really, was kind of the trend there. Everyone getting behind the next and forcing others into mistakes. All the way through, though, as we have a little glitching. There we go. Ryan taking the lead, or taking the win over Aaron and Andrew in 3rd. Nice little battle, though, for 3rd, though, I will say.
Yeah, great battle for 3rd, great battles all around, and a battle of mistakes was really what it was. Battle between yourself and the vehicle beneath you. This will be really interesting coming from the back of the grid and working your way forward. Some of these faster drivers will have to really negotiate with others around them to try to work their way forward. And I'm curious to see how that's going to pan out for them throughout this event. It's one thing to get 100 points for heat number 1. Coming from the back of the grid, not so lucky to get 100 points again.
Yeah, we've seen it, though, once. Maybe we'll see it again here. And, of course, with the prospect of the last to first, it's what every sim racing driver wants. You want that last to first challenge. You want to take that victory. And we have some talent in the back. Andreas, of course, starting towards the rear. You can never discount him. Always one of the competitive drivers, and with others, of course, joining him in the ranks. I certainly would expect a battle. And with faster drivers starting in the back, Sauger, you never know what's going to happen in the front. Anything can happen in a motor race, and anything certainly will when you flip it around.
Absolutely true. Only time can tell, and we're only a few minutes away from finding out what's going to happen for heat number 2 tonight. Brought to you by World of Racing, the most amazing racing facility you could ever ask for. Thank you so much for having us, World of Racing. We're looking forward to heat number 2, and we'll be back in just a few moments' time with that heat.
And welcome back, everybody, to World of Racing. The Pro Series is back, folks. We're going to head over to the reverse grid in a very short time. But, of course, reminder to everybody, a massive thank you for everybody joining us here tonight. I hope everyone's having a lovely evening, afternoon, or morning, wherever you are in this fine world. We're going to be joining us back again here for, again, the reverse order race. We'll get into the standings here when we get into it, of course, because there's a lot of them to go through. But Sagar, Oschersleben with a reverse grid, not many overtaking opportunities. The grass is never far away. What are we expecting from this event?
Chaos. I think we're going to be expecting chaos and some hurry up and wait, as you indicated earlier, Mike. There's really going to be not a lot of passing opportunities, and those passing opportunities are going to come when drivers in front end up making mistakes. So we're really going to have to keep an eye on that green stuff to watch when wheels get dipped over into the grass.
Yes, indeed. Dip, duck, dive, and dodge is going to be the name of the game. Now let's get into it here, folks. The gridding has begun, and the orders are set. Race lights are going to come on momentarily here as we have Robert starting on pole position with Ollie in second. This doesn't feel right. Either way, it's what we're rolling with here. Ollie finished in 7th, so I don't know what's... Robert, though, on pole position, and the green flag is out immediately. Everybody off to an even start. Ollie, though, looking to the inside potentially here. William as well in the mix, as everyone a little bumping and banging in the background there between Andrew, Sammy, and Chris. Robert, though, storms into the lead with William and Ollie in the background. Andrew, though, sneaks to the inside, manages to gain the position over Nolan, that was, I think. Fights it back, though, immediately. Sammy side by side in the mix as well.
This is exactly what happened to William last week. During heat number 2, he started towards the front of the grid and worked his way up into P1 and just escaped with it after that. away from the clutches. Troy going around and into the kitty litter, avoids all the carnage until Chan Young runs into the side of him, also taking the evasive maneuver of the runoff area there. But we're back over to a few of the other drivers that have made it through cleanly. Now, Chris, 1 second away from Sammy. More importantly, Robert escaping up the road by a half second already.
Yeah, and no word of a restart either. It looks like we are going to continue on under green flag conditions. Robert, as you mentioned, in the lead of this race, ahead of William, who's managed to gain some ground as well. William finishing in 6th in the previous race, now fighting for the lead. Andrew, though, quite the heavyweight contender, we know, can definitely storm into the round like Mike Tyson, take you out in round 1, and immediately your position as well. This is not what we want to see. In fact, William and Robert need to work together right now. William looks like he's trying to fix an overtake onto Robert, but I don't think this is the way to move forward here. Andrew is going to capitalize, and he's going to capitalize quickly, I think.
Andrew already up into P3. The driver can claim 2 podium positions tonight, back to back, and that'll be a huge haul of points for himself, but it'll be a huge detriment to everybody else on the grid right now, because it'll be an insurmountable challenge to get the same haul of points in one race weekend or one race night here with World of Racing. Super challenging stuff. William within 1/10 now of Robert as Sammy finds his way off into the gravel through the right-hander there, and almost running into the back of Robert is William. Andrew waiting in the wings for that opportunity to pounce, perhaps waiting for the double trouble, get 2 for 1 special.
Yeah, that's exactly what Andrew's waiting for right now. In fact, I think he's just waiting for these two to take each other out, and he doesn't really want to be involved with it. High IQ driving from Andrew, and other drivers needing to think more. William here, all over the back of Robert like a rash, and you can see Robert is absolutely having none of it. He's trying to shake him like a tail, but not gonna work out, I don't think. He might just have to hand the position over to William just to get rid of this pressure for right now. I know it doesn't sound like the smartest move. Of course, in a 20-minute race, track position could be king. This is a very difficult track to overtake, so maybe, just maybe, Robert doing the right thing here, but also, like I say, William is going to be using all of his tires and some to get by this position if he wants it quick.
We said it was going to be difficult to pass here on this track, but it looks like a couple of drivers have already worked their way through the grid on that opening lap, because we're only complete with lap 2 right now, on to lap 3, and a couple of drivers, Andrew, Ali, and Nolan, have worked their way forward into 3, 4, and 5, looking pretty neat and tidy, as it were. Andreas from the back of the pack working his way forward now is matched up with Jeffrey in P14.
The fan favorite Jeffrey out on circuit. Fastest lap, though, headed to William in a 1:13.6. Quite rapid right now. The rest of the drivers seemingly in the 14s. We see a 13.8, though, from Chris, so he's picking up the pace as well. Jeffrey here, though, is going to be under pressure, and Andreas looking to get by fairly soon. We know Andreas, again, quite the heavy hitter when it comes to the closed-wheeled style of cars. Maybe not so much when it comes to open-wheeled. Cody trying to break his way into the top 10. 8/10 off the back of Josh. Michael currently running in 9th. Ryan 8th. Aaron, a driver that we know quite well, that can deliver, finishing here in 2nd in the previous race. He's in 7th right now. Chris 6th. Nolan 5th. Ali in 4th. Andrew in 3rd. And William, is he going to be in the lead after this next corner? Only wait around and find out. Down towards the outside. Is this going to open the door for Andrew as well? William, he's in too deep potentially. No, he does manage to keep it on the track, and that's going to allow Andrew an opportunity as well. This Robert not going to be able to, or excuse me, he is going to be able to defend. Andrew not able to get alongside.
Very close, tight-knit battle up at the front. The tip of the spear, William, Robert, and Andrew getting those positions inverted. And Robert almost lost 2 positions off the good there, but he was able to defend like a lion, holding back Andrew as much as possible. Andrew closing down the gap as we ride on board with him. You can see how close he's getting to that rear wing or that gearbox of Robert out in the number 2 in 2nd place, aptly put right now. But Andrew's trying to turn that number 1 into a number 1 next to his name.
Yeah, and I think he's going to be able to do it again. He just is really biding his time right now and waiting. There's still so much time to come to him. And really in the background, Ali hasn't been applying too much pressure, so he doesn't need to worry too much from behind. It's all about what's in front of you, and there's a spinner in front, and that's William. Our race leader has binned it with 14 minutes left, overcooked it in the back sector, and Robert now leads the race with Andrew in second, Ali in third.
Maybe you were right all along. Unleash William, let him go, run your own race, and it came to him. Robert now back into P1, just trickled back into his lap. Andrew, though, wants to change all of that up. The driver in second place, 2/10 down from Robert in P1. Faster lap going to Robert on that time of asking. A 14.266 to a 2.80 opens up the door for Andrew, though, to stick his nose along the inside. And this is going to be a huge challenge going into the next corner as he tries to defend that inside line, runs Andrew just that much wider, and Andrew has to back out of it just a little bit there.
I actually think running deep is smart through that corner. You don't allow the opponent to have the inside line for the next hairpin, and through the triples, there's no opportunities to overtake, really, barring any mistakes. So I actually think that's quite intelligent driving from Robert if he can keep that up. I'm not sure it was intentional, but it certainly works. Andrew, going to be frustrated as ever, though, I think at this point. Well, again, still 12 minutes left. He's got a gap behind. I don't think he is. He knows he has the advantage right now, and now he has nobody in front. In fact, now it's not going to be anyone for a brief moment, but he's overcooked it. He's done his best so far, but now he's pushed a bridge slightly too far, drops down to 7th position as a result. Chris, though, gives him one back for free as he goes up into 6th there. Chris finds the kitty litter himself, but Andrew, he just had to wait for the opportunity, and Robert, well, he gave it to him, but he gave it to him just a little too tight.
Critical mistake from Andrew to try to go wheel to wheel alongside. I don't believe there was any contact involved in that, but Andrew running his own race now down into P6. Robert all by his lonesome up at the front. At 1.1 second back is going to be Ali, the number 10 driver. Then Nolan 1.3 seconds back from there. Ryan trying to change everything up and get himself a points paying position on the podium. He is closing in on Nolan at a rate faster than not, coming through the hairpin corner. And now through the chicane, it looks like he is closing down the gap. The driver behind just that much faster getting through that chicane in a straight line.
Now, the problem here with Ryan is he needs to keep it on circuit. He's done an incredible job with pace, managing great results last time. He finished in first, in fact, but he just has to keep it between the mayo and the mustard right now, especially when you're battling with Nolan. Nolan here going to be wiggling around every which way, trying to hold that position on. Down the start-finish straight we go. And is the best opportunity in turn one? Probably not. Ryan, though, close enough to contend. Not on this occasion. He sticks with it for now, but I think he's going to try to pull the trigger into this upcoming sector. It's down to the inside for the exit of turn 2, but is it enough into 3? The outside line is the committed one. Can we switch it back up to the in, or do we need to switch it back up to the inside? Full speed commitment around the out? Not going to happen just yet. Ryan does go back to the outside again, though, but he's not going to find any ground. Trying to take the long way around is the more difficult approach, and through the triples, there's no chance. Ryan, though, looking at the bottom of the hill once more, he is all over him right now. There's no denying that.
Amazing stuff. To be able to drive so close to the driver in front is just a remarkable feat, especially in these cars that are such aero heavy and are going to be driving in dirty air from the car in front through a fast and heavy section like the triples or like the chicane. You're going to get hit with all of that dirty air so substantially, it's going to throw you off of your rhythm for sure. And you're going to have to try to fight through it as much as possible. Ryan doing a good job of closing down the gap. I think he's closer than he has been leading down and towards turn number 1, all the way up into 5th gear. Or it looks like Nolan's going to defend that inside line, allowing Ryan to take the optimum line, and Nolan just gets crisscrossed there and slows down tremendously himself, not even the car behind. This might open up a door for Ryan to get some overspeed coming through this next corner. And now will he be able to get that switchback engaged, set up outside line to inside line? He's going to switch it over to the inside line, but I don't think he's close enough at this time of asking. Through the double left-hander, the triple left-hander. Now through the right-hander, we go again. He's closer than he has been in a very long time. And who is that? That'll be a back marker, not providing any relief for the drivers in the lead lap right now. But it's all up to Ryan to make this pass up cleanly. He cannot risk pulling an Andrew right now and spinning out on his own. He's got to make this happen if he wants the haul of points. He's seen other drivers worse for wear, and that'll be Chan Young in the background, spun out right now, and this is going to be his opportunity to strike Mike Noss.
He's been lifting, though, in that first corner. We noticed that on the last lap riding on board with him, so he's really not that committed into these corners. He goes to the outside again, but I suspect as we get to the braking zone, exactly, you see him just going off into the background as he tries to go for the over-under. This is going to put him to the outside, though, and again, not the favorable line. I think Ryan here, he has the right approach. He just needs to change up his angles a little bit. Again, taking the long way around. It's more work. It's more effort. You got to find that inside line if you want to overtake here at Oschersleben. Ryan, like I say, he has the right idea. He's faster in the right parts of the track. He just has to place his car slightly differently, and maybe, just maybe, this is the time to do so. A little bit of a mistake from Nolan ahead, but Ryan holds on and he doesn't get too aggressive. It's so difficult to go overly aggressive here because you put your car in the slightly wrong spot, you are going to crash. There is no question about it. And Ryan, well, he doesn't want to end up losing more points than gaining. Right now, he'd rather take a fourth than a seventh, I would say.
Absolutely take a fourth rather than a seventh. But speaking of drivers that were down on their luck, Andrew worked his way back up into P6, the number one car, back up into sixth place, right behind these two. And they're going to go wheel to wheel, side by side, leading down and towards turn one. But we've seen Ryan back out of this before, as you mentioned, Mike. Will he make this one stick? He's got the switchback this time around, goes a little bit deep, comes back and crosses over, trying to cut back. He's fully alongside, leading down and towards turn three. He's going to go the long way around, but can he make this one stick? Not nearly. He does come back across the racing line and back up into P3 he goes, and Nolan's chances might be done and dusted. Aaron chasing him down now.
Eat that, Albert Einstein. The definition of insanity doesn't mean anything. Ryan clearly proving that if you try enough times and you make enough mistakes doing the same thing over and over again, eventually, just eventually, you'll succeed. Just keep trying. Ryan, after a few different attempts on the same line, he finally makes it work. Nolan, did he hand it over? No, I don't think he did. He really fought every little ounce that he had, but Andrew somehow didn't capitalize on this. I thought he was going to be closer. Wait. Oh, Aaron was closer. Now Andrew is ahead of Aaron. That explains a lot. So Aaron made a little bit of a mistake. Andrew now up into fifth after that recovery, and he is going to be looking at Nolan like a potential victim here. Looking at the rearview mirror, or well, wing mirror, I suppose, of Nolan. He's going to be approaching quite quickly.
At a rate faster than not, that's for sure. 9/10 back is Andrew, and closing down on Nolan out in front. Now we switch over to Josh and Michael's battle, the seventh place car and the eighth place car, the number 2 and number 5 respectively, in that order. And closing down the gap pretty substantially is going to be Josh, glued all over that rear wing of Michael in P7, looking for that haul of points tonight. He's doing a good job of following in this dirty air through the triple left, and he's closing down the gap so rapidly. I thought he was going to run straight into the back of Michael.
I think he did too briefly, but thankfully, Michael managed to get going quicker than Josh did there. A near disaster, but either way, both drivers moving on in the right direction. Josh, not looking too aggressive just yet. He's just feeling his opponent out right now. Oh my goodness, he's almost feeling him quite literally as he drives into the back of Michael. No collision though, just yet. Let's see how this one continues to develop. as the mid-pack here continues on through the final corner and on to the start-finish straight. 5 minutes left to go. Josh is closer than a close thing in Closeville. Is it enough, though, to get the job done in the first corner? Seemingly no. I thought it would be, but he's not going to be even really having a chance at all. Through the first corner they go, and, well, in the same distance they were.
Absolutely true. What about Ali and Ryan? The battle for P2 and P3 is brewing up to be something right now.
And continuing that, it's so exciting that Lexus is getting involved with this one. Big shout out to Lexus, of course, back at home, Saugers Pooch. Now, looking at this battle still with Josh. Ali, 9/10 off. We'll be keeping an eye closely on that one. Andrew and Nolan still in the mix as well here, with Aaron in conversation as well. But Josh here, I just want to see a little aggression out of him before we go off this battle. He hasn't really phased much of a chance just yet towards Michael. In fact, I think they're more working together than not. But with only 3.5 minutes left, you got to get it done. And oh no, that's Rick now in 17th position. He's unfortunately found the wrong way.
What is the strategy here, Mike? What do you think is going through the drivers' minds as we're about to go side by side down the main straightaway, leading down in towards turn 1? How do you make this overtake work?
Well, to be honest, I don't know if you do. What's going on up here is Nolan's found the gravel. Into the gravel he goes side by side for Andrew and a back marker. Not exciting. That's never mind on that one. Andrew, though, gains no positions. Nolan loses no position. So it was as we were in the running order. But if you are Josh, I haven't really seen enough from him to say that he can even get by right now. I think it would take a mistake out of Michael. It seems that Josh is just struggling to hold on, and actually my point kind of being proven right in front of me here as we go through the mid sectors. It's just kind of Michael pulling Josh along.
Yeah, that's very true. Just being pulled along and getting the slipstream from the car in front, as it is so difficult to overtake here. And a little bit of desync there. Ali gets passed by Aaron. Side by side, lick the stamp and send it moment. Holy Toledo, waiting for the mistake. And that's how you get the overtake done, apparently, Mike.
Yeah, I guess making me eat my words immediately. Josh just goes full send baseball, dives to the inside, doesn't really punch Michael out of the way, but doesn't really not punch him out of the way either. Josh now up into 7th, Michael in 8th. Not really sure what to make of that one, Soccer. I'm not gonna lie.
Jedi mind tricks, Michael. Jedi mind tricks. These are not the droids you're looking for, and this is not the punt you're looking for. It was a touch without being touched. No net code here with World of Racing because of the low land servers that we have across the California desert. And it looks like Andreas from 14th position is in a very spicy battle, glued into the sandwich of Christopher and Chris. Side by side we go, and that's going to be Andreas securing another position for himself up into 13th, and further back it'll be Christopher and Chris now battling it out. Side by side they go to turn 3, it looks like, and that race will be concluded with just 1 minute and 15 seconds left to go, and maybe they'll finish off where they started the race.
Yeah, that'd be a nice prospect, but unfortunately, I'd like to find a little bit more, of course, as everybody here battles it out. Oh, Michael and Josh back at it, and unfortunately, Josh, after all of his hard work, after the send of a lifetime, Josh has dropped it on his own, and Michael has gained the position back. It's going to take another mistake out of Michael, I would imagine, to lose that position, but he's made me eat my words once, says Josh, so you never know. Anything can happen in a motor race, and it normally does, as we see down in this mid-pack, Sauger. I'm not really sure what to make of this one either.
No, It's really going to be a squabble coming down into the final lap, and that'll be Gerson going off the track, getting caught in the kitty litter, and he's going to have a lot of luck to catch back up to this pack that he was once with. But this is going to be the last lap of this event because the leader has crossed the line with just 20 seconds remaining. Holy smokes. Andreas getting sideways in a Formula 2 car, and that's not the way you're fast around here.
No, it certainly is not. Now, are we going to get another lap here? Ryan coming around the final corner and to the line. We get another lap. All right, let's go for one more, folks. The white flag, or wait, do we? Yeah, we do. Yeah. White flag is out. Ryan gains one more lap. That's going to give the chance here to Ollie and Andrew. Andrew around the outside. He's overcooked it though, but manages to keep it on circuit. My goodness. Ollie gives him the room, but with just enough space to maybe fit a credit card. Maybe just a piece of paper. But Andrew, what a send. That was an absolute pixel perfect placement right there from Andrew, and he is up into fourth as a result. Now Ali going to be fighting in the background. Can he do what was just done to him? I don't think so.
What a recovery drive from Andrew. Worked his way up into P2 overall, tumbled down the order into 7th. Now back up into P4. The fortitude that this man has is just phenomenal. Being able to keep his composure, his head on a swivel, and work his way through the grid has just been phenomenal. The pace as well, of course, just flawless drive from Andrew. Driver of the day potentially.
Yeah, I think the real driver of the day, though, goes to Ryan. It's a back-to-back victory for him as he comes to the line for the second time in the first position. Ryan takes the victory for World of Racing Pro Series. This is, of course, round 2, race 2. And Ryan is your champion. Robert comes home in second with Aaron in third. A nicely done race. He finished in second in the previous third in this one. Andrew, fourth. Ali, fifth. Nolan, sixth. Michael going to be coming home in seventh with Josh just behind in eighth. Cody, ninth. And Clay coming home in 10th.
Following that, a half second back from the grid will be Jeffrey in P11. 2.6 seconds after that will be Sammy in 12th position, with this battle still going out to the line. It looks like a little bit of a lockup from the cars behind, but Jeffrey in P11, Sammy in 12th, Chris in 13th, Andreas with a hard-fought race 1 and heat number 2 in 14th, then Christopher in 15th, Gerson with a rough run of things in 16th, with Rick in 17th, William not having the result he had last week in 18th, and Chan Young in 19th, with Troy in 20th.
I think William is the real talk right now for this one, and a very disappointing race for him. He finished in 6th position in the previous one. 18th. That is not where you want to find yourself if you're looking to take home a good haul of points. Ryan, though, taking home the biggest haul of points out of everybody. He takes home the victory, and in both events. What the heck? Oh my goodness. That was a cooked tire, a cooked rim if I've ever seen one. Aaron leaving the rubber behind.
That is crazy. I've never seen that happen in Assetto Corsa, but there's a first time for everything, and that was a show to be had.
My goodness. All right. Well, with that, folks, let's head back into the booth. Welcome back, everybody. The results are in for this one, and Ryan, again, your double victor for the night. He takes victory in race 1 and in race 2. Everybody else, of course, coming in for second. Aaron, a great little result for him as well, so certainly a good haul of points for them. But Sagar, any talks, any stories, anything you'd like to mention throughout this race here?
This championship is so darn phenomenal. It has been so exciting to watch from green to checkered flag, race 1 and race 2 of the evening. The reverse grid provides us with so much excitement, watching the faster drivers work their way through the grid, have to use some tact, skill, and their pace to their advantage. It just provides some good action-packed racing. If you missed race 1 last week, make sure you watch the VOD back. Jackson Lambros and myself narrated that one, and it is a humdinger of a time. Make sure you watch the Estoril comeback stories that were taking place. And no, Mike, this has just been a phenomenal event. Thank you very much for having me.
It's always been a pleasure, of course, to be alongside you, Sagar, and a massive thank you to everybody in chat for joining us, and of course, a shout out to AK Esports UK for putting on this production. Now, with this championship underway and in a big manner, we head on over to race 3. Now, where is it going to be and what car? Well, we'll find out next week, folks, when we get into this actual event. Before that, though, I hope everyone has a lovely evening, afternoon, or morning, wherever you are in this fine world. We are going to be concluding this one here tonight, Sagar. Before we do move on, is there anything that you would like to say?
Have a good night, everybody, and as always, make sure you stay safe out there.
Indeed, I hope everyone, again, has a lovely evening, afternoon, or morning, wherever you are in this fine world. Hit that like and subscribe button if you are on YouTube, and we will be back for the next round of the World of Racing Pro Series.